start with our flag salute. Let's see, we have Ariana Rawlitz. Did I say that right? Yeah. Ariana Rawlitz is a fourth grader at Lexington Elementary School. She is an exceptional student whose favorite subjects are reading and creative writing. She belongs to the NorCal competitive cheer team and is very passionate about her athletics. The only thing Ariana loves more than cheer is her cat Marshmallow, whom she adores. Ariana loves to sing and also plays guitar. She is already thinking about her secondary education and hopes to attend New York University, whose campus she toured this summer while on vacation. She dreams of being a veterinarian or doctor one day. Step on up.
You guys put on that next book.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You, Ariana, I would like to get from you. Okay, just want your, oh.
Push the chair out of the way.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. Thank you. Well done.
You can stay for the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thanks again to Ariana. Let's do a report out of closed session. There is a report. And moving on, can I get an approval or amendment of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I will second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. We will move on to public comment. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board on any item described in this notice or any other issue. In accordance with the Brown Act, unless an item has been placed on the public agenda, there shall be no action taken. The board may acknowledge receipt of the information, refer to staff for further study, ask clarifying questions, or refer the matter to the next board meeting agenda. So I have one card. Hopefully that's all of them. There you are. Let's step right up.
Hello, my name is Angelina. Happy birthday to school. I don't know if anyone was at any of the schools, but my son goes to Dave's and it was kind of a nightmare. And that's why I'm here. Although we were late, it was really crowded. And my concern right now is the gate open time at 8:05. I talked to other parents in this district, outside the districts, about this new gate open time, and it's I'm really concerned for the safety of our kids. I just never, it's a lot of change this year. This is like one of the big ones that concerns me for the safety of our kids. And I did write something, I emailed some people, but I'm just gonna bring up some stuff. And if it's a staff issue with, can you have parent volunteers or hire yard duties to come in the morning so the kids could be inside the school? As a parent, I would feel safer dropping off my kids, knowing that they're inside the gate with friends. It's just, what was another thing I wanted to bring up? My kids used to love coming in and playing with their friends, getting out their energies, like not just 5 minutes. It was so weird. Like I think it is just, I don't know, getting out the energy, the bell rings are just in the past. I even think last year they had time. And I don't know, maybe you could talk to other school districts, see what they're doing. For elementary schools, I just don't feel like a 5-minute gate time. I'm just trying to see what we can.
To provide an update to the governing board regarding their respective organization. Okay. Let's start with Home and School Club from Blossom Hill.
Which button?
I'm Kristen, and I'm the new homeschool club at Blossom Hill. I'm not the new homeschool, I'm the new homeschool club president at Blossom Hill. Trista Bernstein is our president-elect and will be here this year, taking Melissa's place. Just wanted to go over a couple of quick things that we've been working on before school started and just as we get started. The first thing is we hosted our kinder play date at Blossom Hill Park on this last Tuesday. That was very well attended. We had 53 kindergartners and we were very close to that number at the park. Crafts and fun, and it was a really nice event to sort of kick off the school year and get families engaged, new families especially. We did a chocolate walk on Wednesday afternoon, and we invited our whole school community to come down and draw some positive messages or pictures on the sidewalk outside the gates to just brighten it up a little bit before school started on Thursday. This morning we had a great first day. We had a really well attended welcome coffee. We've had a lot of new families attend that and the chalk event actually too. We had a lot of new families to the district there for our school. And going forward, we have back to school night that we're prepping for on the 25th. I was at school this morning to help direct kids to the lines to go to their classrooms, and there were a ton of very excited kids about the new hardscapes inside the gates at school. They were super impressed and it looks fantastic. The solar panels are great and they add some shade, which is awesome. And the kids were really excited about it too. We have I don't want to take the
yeah,
all of you guys about that, but I think that's kind of where we're at for now. We have a new parent coffee coming up at the very end of the we'll keep getting those new families in, and we're just looking forward to a great year. So thank you. Oh, do I still have questions for me? Do I do that? You'll tell me.
Sure, good.
Okay, let's do Dave's. Now for homeschool. Lexington,
Hi, my name's Betsy Carmody, and I am the new homeschool club president at Lexington Elementary School. My daughter is here to yes, we're excited. We also had the TK Kinder play dates, July 31st, and we had another one before that. That was great. We got some lots of new families. They were excited. They were looking forward to coming to our school. And then we did the ice cream social this yesterday. And that was great. Talking to all the new families, they were again, they're very happy and they have lots of questions, and we were there to answer all the questions and guide them through the whole school and show them around, and they loved everything about the school so far. And they were excited this morning too when we were out there helping them, and I saw John and saw our superintendent here, Paul, and I got to meet Sarah too, and we were directing the cars to go by and having them drop their little ones off. We will be having our back to school night, and we're looking forward to that. And we will be doing a welcome coffee at the back to school night. And that's it. It's my first time here too, so.
great job. Yeah, exciting to have those TK kids up there. All right, thank you, Nancy. On to Vander. Okay, Fisher.
Yeah.
Heather, are you the president of the
No, I'm here to say farewell. We want to get out of it. Drew Pastor, he is taking over for me as our Fisher School Club president. I'm very grateful to him. But he isn't quite transitioned in yet. So I've taken this one off his plate for today. He'll be here going forward. So and he has a 6th grader, so he's got a long road ahead.
Probably 30 years.
So how many free batches of cookies is he getting?
I have thought of that.
Yeah. That's me to revisit.
So let's see, lots of good stuff. We have a new family committee chair headed up by Melissa Roper, who is amazing. Perfect person for this role. She is super energetic and knows what it feels like to be new. So she actually planned a mingling event yesterday for new families, and had over 60 people come, new to the district, new to Fisher. And she had some icebreaker games, and she had students lead a few things, and we did some tours and some just ad hoc questions. It was a really, really nice event, and it showed that there was a big need for that, which is great. So I think we'll continue that kind of tradition going forward. First day of school, we had parent volunteers leading all the lost children, which was great. You all know my favorite topic of PE clothes. I love to talk about PE clothes, and I know you like to hear about them. So we organized the entire locker room with PE clothes last May. Remember I told you that? And then they power washed the floor, and they moved all the clothes in one place. So that was exciting. But is that you? But for the next 2 weeks, we have kids that are picking up pre-orders and doing those exchanges, and it's a very exciting time with like changing clothes in the locker room. It's kind of one of the rites of passage for middle school. Camp Trojan is tomorrow. The celebration is tomorrow. We have 750 signups out of 1,000 or 1,100 kids. We have food trucks. We have lots more food trucks than last time. It's going to be nice and hot. We have inflatables. We have games, and lots of parent volunteers. I think we have close to 60 parent volunteers, which are all cleared too. On Monday, we are hosting a staff breakfast with sandwiches from Panera, breakfast sandwiches and coffee to welcome our staff back. And then on Thursday, we have a welcome back coffee for family or for parents in the Fisher NPR in the morning. And that's with Mary, Coleman School Club, Parenting Continuum, Safe Routes to School, Art Docents, one Community LGF, and Music Boosters. And a lot of those organizations are still looking for volunteers, so that's a great opportunity to kind of sell their organization. And then lastly, September 1st, parents will be running from 1st to 2nd to 3rd to 4th to 5th to 6th periods for the traditional back to school night on campus starting at 5 o'clock. Any questions for me? I've enjoyed talking about PE clothes to you all for the last couple of years. But thank you.
So actually, no, a question for you, not so much in your role with Fisher, and this is kind of quasi-public comment, right? There's been a lot of social media traffic about the registration for the lunch program. People concerned about the use of the free and reduced price lunch form as their means for their kids getting free lunches. And I think the answer is the state in its infinite wisdom only has one form, and it's that one. But I'm kind of curious, is there anything here, like, is this kind of sorted out? Do people now know what to do, or does the district need to do something different to smooth things
So
over with
that's-
folks?
So it's a good question, and I think for the 600 people on Facebook,
Yeah,
and for those that email the right person, they have the answer.
yeah, which
For
is
everyone,
just fill it out, right?
yeah, it's filled out, and if you are uncomfortable,
Skip the sections you want to skip.
well, or submitting your
That's for income.
salary,
Yeah.
right, they said $5,000 per month. If you estimate that as your salary, then you're above some kind of threshold and you don't need to reveal anything, was the idea, although you are revealing a lie, but whatever. So yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion. Most people see that and say, I wouldn't qualify, so I shouldn't be
Right,
doing this.
exactly, yeah. So,
Can I respond
Yeah.
to, so we. So we also were planning on sending out some additional instructions, and so that the issue as far as we're going, the answer is gonna be, I'm above 5,000 a month, so that it's an honest reply for people.
Yeah.
That's all that we need. So we need to give some clarification to people, and also
Yeah.
why are people requesting this? They have a lot of questions about
Right.
that, and so we're gonna
Yeah, yeah.
send out, we're
Yeah.
gonna send out. some additional
great, okay, thank you.
instructions.
So just on that question, is I know the answer from the high school, which is you don't have to fill it out. You'll actually get the free lunch if you choose not to.
Yes.
The state wants everyone to fill it out, so the most people will be reimbursed by the federal government, not the state. But I think that could be clear, and it still hasn't been clear from Los Gatos High School.
That's
just
what
say-
we're going to send out, is why are we doing the form, and that it's not required as far as your income, but what is required, that we have to register and count every child. So please fill it out in a way that is correct for you, and here's how you would answer this. So that's, we're gonna give that concept.
Okay, back to school night query question. Well, and I'm asking you because you're the one in front of me, but I know where the answer might come from. The videos that the teachers presented in advance were seen as very helpful because it got a lot of the basic information out. Do you know if they're going to be doing that, or is it back to sort of the old? You're only going to get the 5 minutes here and.
Am I allowed to?
Yes.
Yes. It is more the traditional style. Faculty will not be making the videos to post. Those were fantastic, but it was a pretty monumental effort. It was a special license and such. However,
Mary, can I interrupt? Can Dan
Could
do
you
this?
just-
oh,
microphone
sure.
And you can say that
Can I
again.
talk to the microphone? Let's see, so the faculty will not be making the detailed videos that they have done for COVID times. It was a pretty monumental effort and had some licensing things with posting those kinds of videos and such. However, they will be doing detailed slide decks that will be posted and available for families. So it just won't be the live version.
And it's back to kind of like going into a classroom and hustling around. Okay, good. The long lines to talk to a teacher for like 10 seconds was not my favorite. I know that we had to do it that way for COVID, but I acknowledge that. Hopefully we can take our learnings from COVID of what worked well and what didn't work well and readjust. Okay, thanks, Heather. Who's up next? LGTA, anybody? Classified. Okay, LGA. Can you pass these down? Thank you.
Okay.
So maybe it might be shorter than the patch.
All right. Can I brand? So I can't believe that it is the 40th anniversary of LGF, you guys. And I just want to say, welcome back to school. I can't believe you're having a board meeting on the first night of school. So by the way, thank you for still being here. But I'm so thrilled to announce that you're getting an invitation to a party that we're having downtown to celebrate LGF's 40th anniversary. And the town is allowing us to have the Town Plaza Park. And it's going to be a celebration of the art, the music, the science, and I'm hoping to get the dance teacher there as well. And then also the homeschool clubs and the Wildcat Foundation and the high school are all going to be a part of it. But it's really just a way to bring the community together to celebrate this amazing thing that they founded 40 years ago. I just want to acknowledge a couple of people that have been super helpful in this.
this office is named after Tom O'Donnell, and his daughter Loretta put together a really nice quote for me, and actually stood in a photo, which is she's very uncomfortable doing, and it was really sweet that she did that. As well as Chrissy Adams, a teacher at Van Meter, helped me contact her mom, who was a founding LGF board member as well. So Kay Geoffroy Duff then went on after the LGF board to become a teacher at Deans Avenue. And the other individual who was super helpful was Carol Musser, who was on the founding board, who happens to be Christy Grosty's mother. So Christy Grosty, who is an assistant principal at Los Gatos High School. So it's just like a story of who is who in education here in Los Gatos. And it's really been quite an honor to just look through these boxes of materials. There's been some stories that are just going to have to be retold, which is Carol Musser organized with her friend Jim Peckler, who's unfortunately passed away. They organized a group of 1,056 volunteers to basically just walk the town and knock on doors to get individual donations for our schools. When the foundation, that was in 1982. So their first gift to the schools was in the 82-83 school year. And they raised individually by knocking on doors over $100,000, which would be almost $1 million in today's dollars. So it was pretty impressive effort, and their vision that they set for the organization actually has maintained for the past 40 years. It was basically to bring back all those things that were lost: art, music, and the specialists, and basically, so I'm just super proud to just be taking that baton and making sure everyone knows about it. And we have an amazing parent at Van Meter, Hillary Finbaum, who is actually coordinating this whole event. So other LGF updates I should mention are that I wanted to thank Misty for her work in helping me get the application, and also all of the reviews and all of the grant paperwork back and forth from El Camino, because we happily accepted another 110,000 grant from El Camino again this year. So thank you, Misty, because it's a lot of work to keep all that tracking and everything. Let's see, there were a couple other updates. I also, so on the LGF front, there'll be on the 40th anniversary, there's going to be a big highlight article in the Los Gatos magazine in the fall issue. So look for that. The other board mentions, I mentioned we have a new board member at Van Meter, that's Hillary Zigabom. We also have a new board member who technically is at Fisher, Ms. Jennifer Shapiro. Thank you for stepping up to be VP of LGF marketing, as well as one community chair. And then at BH, we have a new board member, Will Schmidt, who you may know from working on the Measure B campaign. And then we were also able to convince Celine to come back as parliamentarian. So it's a really fabulous board this year. So we still have everyone else. We kept everyone else as well. So it's a really strong board. And Celine and I are working on partnerships with the Wildcat Foundation, which supports the high school. And the first version of that was to expand our business sponsorship program so that it's actually supporting both entities. So I don't know if you know this, but the Wildcat Foundation is being run by Brian Rosenberg, so it makes it really easy to do all of our negotiations. And what we've already seen is that businesses here in Los Gatos are thrilled that they're able to support students K-12, and so it's already brought in dollars over what the negotiation that we have to give to the high school is. So we're thrilled because it's more for our students. I'm going to let Miss Jennifer tell you all about the STEAM nights, but I just want to appreciate that how much our staff has really jumped in to help with the STEAM nights. This was originally just a marketing idea of how can we get the word out about One Community. And I don't know if you noticed, but last spring, when we had actually raised the funds for the additional staff, we didn't really talk about it because we knew that the plan hadn't been developed yet. So we just said it would be great to have these STEAM nights. Well, Jennifer and I met with the STEAM team today, and we are just blown away with what they're putting together. It's going to be there's going to be like 8 stations, and just it's going to be a celebration at each one of the campuses. So I'm working on scheduling the one at Lexington, but all the 3 downtown elementaries have been scheduled, and our plan for Fisher is to do one in the spring, because it's kind of a lot going on with the elementary right now. So the other just thing I should mention is how much I'm appreciating the new art teachers. I didn't really say much about Peggy Anderson last year, but she has completely changed the model. And now with her partnership with Shannon Hawks, they're going to have 17 sessions in each classroom this year. So every grade level, every class is going to have 17 45-minute lessons. It's a huge increase.
That's like almost every.
It's a huge increase. And the TK is going to have 30-minute lessons. So I haven't actually even done the math about how many hours that is, but it's a massive increase. And they're so excited. So it's almost infectious to see the 2 of them talking about their plans. So LGF is super proud and thrilled to be sponsoring both of those programs, because the staff is just stellar, and we're thrilled. So that's, I think, my final wrap up, and
That's a wrap.
that's a wrap. Any questions, let me know.
With that wrap, Jen, One Community.
You were on it.
Jennifer Shapiro, still One Community chairperson and LGBF marketing. So happy first day of school. It's a big day in our house, Fisher. But and I was super excited about where we're headed. I first wanted to thank you for all of your support that we've received from the district, from the board, from everyone for last year's campaign. It was very successful. We hit our goals, over 1.7 million raised. And we are excited and looking forward to this next campaign this year. If I can do the slideshow and how many?
You'll share Jennifer's slide.
Yes, that was.
That's the one.
Or did I go too far?
Okay, well, that's just the first page. It says that we've already started the campaign and it runs through October 18th this year. We have a little bit more time because we're not pressed up against Measure B, so taking a couple of extra weeks. We go with the next. We have new graphics this year that highlight when we first started One Community, it was explaining what LGEF was, what the home and school clubs are, what each one does and how they come together. And now we're less emphasis on trying to educate about each one, but focusing in on your contribution of $1,500. Here's how it gets split, and it all comes back around to your children. Where they are, of course, they're the emphasis. Bottom line, how does this affect my child? What does my child get? They get all of it, just coming from multiple groups, and the 200 asked for Fisher Music students. If you could go to the next.
So the music student ask would be 1,700.
Yes, exactly. So, again, recap of what we are funding, and it's similar to what we have funded in the past, but again, just new graphics of, that show what we are funding. Right now, we are offering, again, it's an early contributor opportunity drawing again, which was successful last year, but this time it's really early, not 2 weeks before the end of the campaign. So it's get your donation in by Friday, September 2nd, and you are entered to win another Apple Watch. It went really well last year. We're hoping it does.
I'm in already.
I would say that we have, it's my computer rings every time a donation comes in to that email, and I'm like, I love listening to the noise. Like an angel getting his wings. So, and actually, another thing that really helped us get a head start on our campaign, Apple did this Apple Match in July. I wished it would have been like August and in line with it, but we reached out to Apple families and said, hey, get it in early, get it done, and if you donate 1,500 for one child, in the end, we end up with 4,500, which is awesome. So before the campaign even started, we were 100,000 into it, so that was great. So yeah, we Apple Watch seems to be. And there are rules online that say no purchase necessary. They're defined committed how if we could go to the next slide. One thing that we're super excited about this year is we have a video to show at Back to School Night, which they're still finishing up the video, but I have a sample to show for you. If you can click on it. This is just the image with the audio. It's not animated yet, but it'll give you an idea of what it will look like.
A vibrant, dynamic place to live, with one of the best school districts in the country compared to the top performing schools in New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and Wyoming. But why do those schools get so much more money per student than we do in Los Gatos? Because in 1978, California voters passed Proposition 13, a state measure that changed the way our schools get funding, capping property taxes. Now, even in a strong housing market, there isn't enough revenue to support our schools with public funds alone, even with the 2021 parcel tax renewal. After the passage of Prop 13, California schools went from some of the best in the nation to some of the worst, slashing art, music, and electives. Class sizes soared. A high-quality education requires more funding than state and local taxes provide. That's why concerned Los Gatos parents combined their efforts and formed One Community LG, a partnership of the Los Gatos Education Foundation, Every Home and School Club, and Music Boosters, all under one umbrella. Now, families like you can make one contribution to One Community LG, and every student at every school will receive the benefits, such as crucial funding for important school staff in art, music, library and PE, technology and supplies in every classroom, and much more. One Community LG provides community events on every campus. Every elementary student this year will have STEAM teachers working in partnership with classroom teachers and a second art teacher. Weekly music instruction for our elementary students and Music Boosters concerts and events. Academic and SEL counselors and middle school electives like advanced orchestra and intermediate dance and STEAM, and important science classroom supplies in all grades. The great education you want for your kids isn't possible without One Community LG and the partnership between LGEF, your home and school club, and Music Boosters. And One Community LG is only made possible by your support. Contribute today.
That will be we've got the draft of the animation, which is amazing. They made the one community logo animate, I mean, it's really super cool. And we will be showing those at all the every teacher will show it at back to school night. We feel like one of the challenges that we bump up against is, but it's a public school, why do you need money? The public school in Los Gatos, and this really explains exactly why we are asking for donations. So that all families, whether you've been here for years or you're new to the district, will get that message. So that's one new thing this year. The other new thing this year are the family skate nights, which Deborah talked about on all the campuses. It started as a little, we're just gonna do a make and take and you can meet the hostess, and now it's like we met with the hostess today and so grateful for them. I'm so excited by them and their energy. Lamil Ochoa, Michael Sock, and Kristen Peckham. And we met with Amy also that they have this whole plan with all these activities where I'm like, I want to do them all, and it's going to be so much fun and just generate this excitement for parents to be on campus, for them to see what STEAM is about. Because as we said, we throw out these acronyms of, the STEAM toast is going to be in the NPR, and you're like,
Like some PBL.
yeah, so you better be there ASAP.
Like, by LG.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And the HSCs.
Yeah. So, so I think it's gonna be a really fun activity, really connect parents back to campus and allow us to show up. This is what the contributions you made are funding, and this is what we're doing, and isn't this great? And no, the STEAM lab is not fully built in like this beautiful finished masterpiece. That's why we're still fundraising. So this is why we need to keep going with this. So it's gonna be awesome. Let's try to attend there, since there are gonna be 4 of them. Pick a night that works for you and come and check it out. So, all right, and one more.
Good graphic.
Thank you.
And just the steam is like actually when you're a lot.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. It was like really into this stuff. We're gonna have banners with a graphic. We're working on this passport idea where students will have a passport that they can bring, and we'll have a STEAM sticker that you attended STEAM night. And then we're hoping that we're gonna talk to the homeschool club about, you can do a movie night sticker. And so at the end of the year, you have, look at all the cool and amazing things we did. And of course, it's got Point Community LG branding on it, so that you go, oh yeah, wow, they do a lot. We should definitely contribute. But the quick thing about the STEAM nights, they're gonna be structured similar to the family math nights. It's an open house, come and go, move around stations, different stations. The ones we talked about today. This, again, the STEAM teachers were amazing. There are stations that appeal to everyone and are equally interesting if you are a TK student or a 5th grader. You can get something out of it. Even, I mean, my kid, can we go? Like, well, yeah, she will be there helping, and so absolutely can go, and they will be helping the kids from scratch, and that's their thing. So, and again, it'll incorporate everybody, and this is also an opportunity to send out emails that say we're having this event. And donate money.
Might be able to put a banner over above the coffee roaster announcing the STEAM nights with the dates.
Yeah.
Which might help just sort of get the word out, more of a sort of way of just.
So this year, Dan, we're not making a community-wide invite.
Oh,
This
wow.
year, it's just the school families, but maybe next year.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of growing and growing. I think that they're gonna be super well attended on it.
Or even if it just said LGDF and one community fund STEAM.
Yeah.
The graphic, just a way of sort of letting everyone else know.
And next. So our, these are projected goals for this year. We work together to get all the Hammond School clubs to, have a proportionate ask from their schools. So taking the number of students at your school, multiplying it by 350. And as the last year, we hit 65% participation at all the elementaries and 45 at Fisher. So that's where our goals are set so that we are campaigning equally throughout the campaign. So as you can see, our total one community goal is just shy of 2.4 million. Which the big chunk of that is at LGEF.
And that's up from, we say 1.7 last year.
That's what, yeah. A lot of, now, LGEF isn't up significantly from last year. A lot of the home and school clubs are, not that they didn't spend as much money last year.
Yeah.
They just, that wasn't their goal. So
Yeah, no,
it's
I
a little
get it.
bit more
No,
skewed.
the push is on participation.
Yes, absolutely, and that will continue. So, and I think just one more, there, all the stats from last year are still in here, if you wanna look, that's what we're estimating by school. And the next one. So the key changes for this year, because every year, you know, look at what we did, what did we do well, what do we need to improve? Explainer video will be super, I think, a big game changer for us. Keeping the home and school clubs consistent proportionally to their size, the new graphic that puts the emphasis on the student. More explanations on the donor forms as to how your contribution is divided. It was listed there before, but now it's in 100 different places, so you will get it. One early opportunity drawing. Thank you. And been working with Parent Beyond for our cross marketing with all our organizations on Facebook, and that's helping. One community is sharing LGUSD posts. I'm getting the home school clubs to share those and trying to pick up all of our likes and our shares, and it seems to be going well so far. And then the family speak nights. And the rest of the slide that gave, if you want to look through a lot of the numbers from last year, just for historical purposes. But that is one community LG and where we are heading for this year. So 2.4. No problem. We'll be there. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. Okay,
Those participation numbers are just such a huge
Yes,
improvement everywhere. Really impressive.
we're very happy with them, and of course, our goal is 100%. And but every year we just, we're gonna keep pushing further. Until we get.
awesome. Okay, over to you, Paul.
Michelle, you want to announce what you just texted me?
Oh, sure.
Hold on.
The original link on the live stream that was posted online and on the agenda wasn't working. And so our wonderful tech friends generated a new one, and the website and agenda have been updated to reflect the new link. So hopefully people have found it if they were trying to get on.
Great. Okay. Okay, so Jen, we've been busy this summer as a district, and probably one of the highlights of the summer was the project-based learning PBL training, where half of the staff have been trained. Thanks to Rhonda for putting that together, and that's a big undertaking by the district. And then our maintenance, Therese and Thomas are very tired right now.
just because of all their efforts for solar, outdoor learning centers, playground upgrades, garden construction. I know I heard, painting, and so forth. And so,
moving the PE,
and what?
moving the PE uniforms.
Yeah, Heather's doing here.
Thank you. Thank you for all your efforts. And I know that Thomas has some slides. Our admin retreat. It's probably one of the finest admin retreats I've been to in my career. 3 full days with the administrators. We did team building with Peggy Anderson that Deborah was talking about, our art teacher. And we each created, was it 3 or 4? 4 canvas paintings. As an administrative group, it was a growth mindset activity, but they turned out pretty good. And it was really great to be able to use our own talent within our district, and thanks to LGEF and One Community for funding that and for funding a second art feature. I wanted to mention that on Monday, we had our welcome back for all of the staff, and we had over 300 under the new solar canopies out at Fisher. Our theme for the year is growth mindset. You might see these little green buttons. What opportunities did I create from failure today? So it's celebrating mistakes and failures as an opportunity for growth, for personal growth. New staff hires, hats off to Sarah and the admin team for our new recruits. I think it literally, I'm not exaggerating, in my career, the best ever group hired ever. And that includes our TOSAs and all of our new classroom teachers, all of our kindergarten aides and TK aides. And usually we're here in this room. Well, we were in the Fisher Library because we had almost 50 individuals there. The new teacher orientation I wanted to share after Jennifer talked about the TOSAs. They did a STEAM activity with our new staff. And so I think they'd only been in the orientation for like a half an hour, and all of a sudden they're doing STEAM activities at the table. And it was a great introduction to the priority for STEAM in the district to all of our new staff. And now I am going to mirror. So we're going to have to see if let's see here. It says is currently in use. Okay, there we go. And is there a way that we could just maybe turn off one of the lights there? That would be great. Thanks. So I want to take you on a little tour today. It started at Lexington, and this is Lucia Arredondo. She is a brand new kindergarten teacher up there. She previously taught at Blossom Hill. And this is her class going on the tour of the school. And I think that Lex kind of had a coup in recruiting Lucia to go up to Lex as a kindergarten teacher. I'm going to move along there. This is the new TK class. And just the cutest little thing with, and Sarah and I went around to the schools together, and they had their little toys and wood sets, and they didn't waste any time in finding their play opportunities. The highlight was looking out the window at the big oak tree, and there was a little tiny door on the oak tree. Yes, and so they're going to be looking at that little door throughout the year, and they were really wide-eyed. The librarian Barbara took this next picture, and I think this illustrates just total joy to be back in school. Those are just such great pictures. And then we went to a kindergarten. And I walked out on that surface to make sure that it was real and it wasn't just spray painted on. But Thomas, I don't know how you did it, but I think it was like a late evening. What time did that get done the day before?
9, almost 8 o'clock.
Oh, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there at like 5 and you guys were still working.
Well, I didn't give him an option. So.
It would have been 6:35 this morning if they needed.
This is, we happen to be in the corner and the classes were doing tours. And this is looking at the new learning space from the side at Dave's. This is kindergarten. And so I snapped some pictures of each of the kindergarten teachers. This is Mrs. Doriano. And I did take a little video and I hope that this comes through.
You're lucky.
We turn up the.
Okay, everyone, lunch now. For the first time, I love graphic crayon. That's so good. So new. So look at all I've done.
Okay, so just excitement about. Okay.
I use Google Slides.
I couldn't upload the pictures into Google Slides for some reason, so I did the PowerPoint.
Open a recent.
Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Anyways, I wanted to mention that she just got the kids excited about crayons and smelling the crayons and look how big they are. And it made you want to go back to kindergarten for sure. Okay, let's see. Mrs. Teddy in kindergarten, and very happy kids and teachers. And this is Mrs. Macias, and she's using a little puppet here to talk to her kids. And there's a lot of animated kindergarten teachers. I bet you they collapse at night. They work so hard with the kids. This was Dave's. And this made me happy because the kids were sitting in the new learning space as the teachers were talking about the school, and I believe they were going on a tour. Okay, this is Blossom Hill, their new outdoor learning space.
I have some on my slide.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are the.
This is our new one of our new Spanish teachers. Her name is Juliana Schilling. And she has her own room at Blossom Hill. She's from Peru, and that is the Peruvian flag that you see hanging there on the wall. And very warm and bubbly. And she was very excited because her first class was getting ready to come in, Mr. Boland's class at Blossom Hill. And really excited for the opportunity. So that's something, that's a first, is gearing up for Spanish instruction at the elementary level. Saw this today at Van Meter, just looking down from the 2-story building and admiring the shade that has been produced by the solar panels. Okay, this is Van Meter Kindergarten. And you can see these are the squares that Thomas was talking about, that when they break down, they can be individually replaced rather than ripping out an entire surface. And that grass in the very back, Thomas, what kind of grass is that?
So that's it's Bermuda. That is a low tolerance water. It doesn't need a lot to survive. I just want to self-identify with this group that did not look like that 4 days ago. That did not look like that 4 days ago, and also that grass was never in my summer plan. But when everything else got done, the grass looked so terrible, I had to kind of switch gears and get it done. So
And I was just, I was surprised at how well the drought resistant grass, the sod, looked, actually, really sharp. This is a kindergarten class. This is Fink, Jenny Fink. And I think she had like 8 to 10 stations taking place. There were so many different activities happening in that classroom, just super rich in learning on the first day of school. Van Meter, the in-between space. The tables over to the left are the old tables, but I understand that they've ordered new tables. And what I really like about the outdoor learning is the pavers in between. It really has a lot of character to that space. This is the playground to the right-hand side with this, and Karen and I were out there putting a little film together. On Monday, all of the parents are going to receive a strategic planning update. And we did, actually, this was for today's message, that's right. And you heard about inclusive playgrounds and pieces. So if you look to the left, there is an apparatus there that some students are around, and then over to the right, and those have started to be put up. What's great about these is that it can accommodate a wheelchair. They're accessible. Okay, this was a great site this morning, Fisher. And here's all the PE classes under those panels and taking advantage of that shade. They love the shade. And the PE teachers, I think they're smiling, aren't they?
I think so.
Very happy these days. So that's just a little photo tour. About 4 hours of Sarah and myself going in and out of classrooms, and just very happy kids. A lot of new shoes, by the way.
Oh.
And a lot of fluorescent shoes, different colors. So
I noticed a lot of high tops today at Starbucks after school. I was like, girls are wearing high tops, okay.
and just a couple of things I wanted to mention that Peter and Courtney have both automatically been reelected to the Board of Education. So congratulations. And also Melissa Crow has been elected. There will not be a campaign, but they automatically advance to December.
How much would we save by not having to have an election?
That's a good, Therese, you know?
That'd be at least a half.
well,
Around that.
Generally speaking, it's at least a couple $100,000.
Oh.
Generally speaking, it's a minimum of a few $100,000 because you have to do both a polling place and ballots. But it depends on what else is on the ballot.
Also, I wanted to ask you, September 8th is our September board meeting. Is it possible for you, we'll probably have closed session at 5:30. Is it possible for you to come at 4:30 for a solar groundbreaking? Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. At Fisher, yeah, I said that on the list of events.
Just wanted to check. Dan, does that work with you?
Probably.
And that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. Very exciting first day of school. All right, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent
Move
agenda?
to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now on to strategic objectives. Thomas.
Yes.
Let's see what you got.
So I should have collaborated with Paul, because he got some really good pictures. And
Those were just today.
stole a little bit of the thunder, but since he is the superintendent, I'll let that go. So I just wanted to give you a quick update, you know, you guys have all been out and you've seen what you've done, but they've seen what we've done, so there's something. So there's some things that you might not have seen. Courtney mentioned she would like to see some pictures of prior, and I do have a lot of those. This is just a small sample, but Amy, if you can go to the next slide, please. So here's this, some of this stuff makes me a little bit nervous. It gives me a little bit of a shock sometimes, but you know, walking into, this is Dave's. Dave's right outside the kinder area. This is Dave's right outside the kinder area, and this area has changed so much. It's hard to realize that this happened, you know, you know, you want to say 2 months ago, but it really wasn't even that long. So we got well underway as school got started. This kind of made me cringe for a little bit. We had a 10-wheeler, or you know, super dump backing into this is Blossom Hill corridor, so they're taking all the dirt out and getting everything done. So I can't say in this position I've had to fly 10-wheeler trucks into my campuses before, so that was new. Definitely not something I'm not used to from the town, but there's a lot of things that happened. There's a lot of hiccups that happened. That kinder, there's some things that we had to kind of adjust on the fly. The kinder grass at Van Meter, we had the kinder grass at Blossom Hill. We had one thing that I didn't really account for is that we had a lot of broken pipes, and we had a lot of water shut off here and there, and it caused some other things to die. So at the very tail end of my project, I had to kind of switch gears and kind of make things look pretty and presentable. These are pretty early. This is almost June-ish, but I wanted to kind of grasp the scope of the project, which was a rather large undertaking for any school district for a 2-month period, for sure. Everybody that I've talked to has been amazed that this is even fathomed to get done. And SNH that Trace and I contracted with have been nothing but super. They have been helpful all along the way, all along the way. Amy, go to the next slide, please. So this is where we're starting to get back a little bit more. These are the seating walls at Dave's Avenue. You can see this is another picture from Dave's. This is actually, these are all Dave's. So the center one is the kinder area, but I mean, if you could get just from the pictures, but if you could get the magnitude of what we have done, I mean, there's miles of dirt that's been replaced. All the irrigation has been repaired and replaced. The trees have been put back in. I was speaking to Angelina earlier, who expressed some concern about the trees at Dave's, and they were badly rotten and in real bad shape. And so, as the safety hazard, they needed to come out. So we worked with Debbie to pick the best that we could. There was something that's fast growing, gonna get some shade soon, and go from there. But Trace and I have already talked about that. One of the bigger concerns that we have right now is shade. So we're working on some shade sales and some things like that, because it's a beautiful space, but it doesn't provide a lot of shade right this moment. So Amy, can go to the next one, please. So here's some things. I don't know. So Paul didn't have a picture of this. I'm glad I could show this one and steal a little bit of my own thunder, but this is the Life Lab over at Van Meter, and it is amazing. It's a DG pathway, all fenced in. Every one of those planter boxes has water to it. They've all been plumbed, and it's amazing. It's miles compared to what they had before. They had a little area in the back corner, if you know, the third or fourth wing down at Van Meter, and it was small, unusable, not kid friendly. And this is just everything's at a certain height. They have seating around the areas, and like I'll show in the next slide, it's just going to get better and better and better. We've had some problems with supply chain stuff, like everyone's has. There's some things that you'll see at the end of the slide that there's some punch list items that we're still kind of waiting for. We had a meeting today with them, and actually, lo and behold, as soon as I went back to my office, some things have shown up. So things are starting to roll in. But what we did is we tried to get it presentable. We tried to get it beautiful. We tried to get it to a 97% completion. So, I wanted to perceive like that it was done and finished, but there is some more aspects that will just kind of ice the cake as we go forward. Like Paul said, this Brazilian surface is awesome. It was a little bit of a bear to install, and but once it gets there, it's just awesome. We have full access. It's easily maintainable. It's just everything has just come together. I feel like the last picture is just Fisher. So I resealed the whole blacktop of Fisher. The Fisher PE teachers gave me a little bit of a wish list at the end, and we color coded them, red, yellow, I'm sorry, not red, yellow, purple, and green, and so we made all Fisher colors. They came back to me and they said the first thing that they saw this, that I had done everything on their wish list, so I'm happy that they were. But, I mean, the interiors are gorgeous, this is just, it's a major upgrade for our schools, major upgrade. Amy, go ahead. So here's some other things. I took this picture especially the other day, because before school started, there were some high school age kids, that they were having a full basketball game in the shade. You know, it was one of the hottest days, it was the hottest days ever, and there was some high school boys out there, and they were playing basketball, and we were playing a full game in the shade. So it was just an awesome picture. The concrete at Blossom Hill looks gorgeous, the ceiling walls are amazing. This is Blossom Hill Kinder, so we had some issues with some broken pipes over there, the water got shut off, so the grass that was existing, really took a beating. And so, you know, a week ago or so, I was like, this is gonna make my project look terrible, so I have to switch gears and call Brightview, our other contractor for turf. This is the Bermuda grass, this is low water, it'll take a lick and keep on taking type stuff. And so what we did is, I had him do that, and then at the same time, I was discovering that Van Meter was in dire need of the same. So Paul took that picture and I had him, I said, hey, do you have another install for me in your back pocket? And they switched gears and moved over to Van Meter, redid that too. So it's just amazing. I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud of all of it. I'm proud of my whole team here. I'm proud that we could even take this on and get it done. And you know, it was a little stressful at times. I won't say it wasn't, but the results definitely outweigh for sure. Go ahead, Amy. So this is just a little list of stuff that's outstanding, and you know, I was actually in my office today looking at this, and some of it's even already done. So I produced these slides just about 3 days ago, and there's a lot of it that has already even come in. The soft surface in Kinder being finished earlier this week, gluing was to take place after hours. That was something they promised me. That has all been done. I gave them the ultimatum yesterday, and I said, no, you're not going to be here anymore. So they finished that up. So the shade structure is another supply chain thing. This is a DSA item, Department of State Architects, and so that's at Dave's, and it's going to go over that big sand section. And we're waiting on that. Soft surfaces is another thing that we're waiting on. It's just there's some resilient material that's up against that big oak tree in the Dave's Kinder, and it goes off. These are all just very small items, just so you know, punch list items that you know just about every construction job would have. But nothing that's gonna make the space unusable or not look like perceive it to be done.
So quick question on the Van Meter field reconstruction.
Yes,
In parentheses, depending on cooler weather conditions.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yep.
Yeah, so what is that, like, how cool or not warm does it need?
I'm gonna give you an example. So I had 3 grass surfaces on my docket this summer.
Right.
I had repairs at Fisher Field, and then I had the warehouse field to do in the Van Meter grass. So I went ahead and did, Trace and I had been conversing the whole time, but I went ahead and did the Fisher Field repairs. They came out midweek, Delta Brewgrass up in Stockton, came out midweek, about Tuesday or Wednesday, and did the install by Friday, it was dead.
Oh, really?
Yes, so I had talked to, Delta Brewgrass had brought one of their head honchos down, and we talked to them about it, and I had him out there on the field, and he said that they had a string of about 105-degree days up in Stockton where the stuff was being grown. And, you know, it sits on a pallet, it gets trucked down here and it gets installed. And I myself personally, at that point, went over to Trace and said, listen, this is an issue because we have hot weather right now and we have no water and we have this stuff is sitting on the pallet, it's just dying as we're speaking. I mean, you could even see it where the install with that Fisher, it's better, worse. It's just going down the line. And I can't imagine doing a field reconstruction right now and having these issues. So we kind of collectively got together and said, we need help from Mother Nature. And so we need to wait till at least, even if we don't get rain, we need to wait till the temperatures are a little bit less. Because Delta Bluegrass actually came out, everything that they put in Fisher ripped out and redid. Yep. And that was just kind of a life lesson right there, like we can't pull this off right now. So. Any other questions? These are just basically punch the flies on hardscape surfaces and things like that that we've been waiting on. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Well, Tom, excuse me, you had that slide on Lexington, those issues on Lexington, you go through that quickly? please?
Sure. Okay, the solar construction. So Teresa and I have been, we have weekly meetings with our solar contractor and, Lexington seemed that, you know, in my mind, it would have probably been, the easiest project because everything was roof mounted. They have run into some issues site-wide. You know, every site kind of got pushed back just a little tiny bit. We've been working closely with them on their calendar. And so what has happened is that it's kind of created a trickle down effect to where we get to Lexington and now we are stuck with a little bit of an overlap of time. So I worked with them very, very closely. I said, you know, once school starts, it's gonna be, you know, everything is roof mounted and it's gonna be very difficult to load these things onto the roof when kids are in session and we don't have much time to do it. And so I've kind of worked with Forefront Power. We kind of walked the campus a little bit. We kind of found some areas in the back of the campus where these things can be loaded up from the back. And so they had always pushed it out for a little bit for an early September start, but there's really was going to be some logistical challenges about getting the materials onto the roof and doing what they need to do. I mean, we've been dealing back and forth with power shutoffs and, integrating hookups and things like that. And so it's kind of throwing the whole system off. And so what that does is kind of trickle down to where it's pushing back Lexington just a little bit. I'm 100% sorry that this is not all taken care of this summer, but it's just everything had led us to this.
Okay, well, I understand that and you can only do what you can do, but as far as a generator or a Generac or something like that, as you know, we had power shutoffs.
Sure.
This week and last week, and there's only gonna be more to follow.
So
Are we gonna put a Generac or anything in there?
Yes, we do have that plan. So during this process, we had gone through a generator study through them, but it's actually two different, the solar and the generator are somewhat related, but not physically
Yeah,
related.
exactly.
And so it's different. So I think regardless of the solar start or the solar completion, that has nothing to do with whether I can install a generator.
Right, so we're not talking about a storage system. We're
Definitely
talking about a separate
Definitely
generator.
not a storage.
Power
system, for
goes
sure.
off, Generac goes on. just
Exactly,
like the
definitely
PV.
not a storage system, for sure. So the parking lot. The parking lot was restriped. I did the restriping there, and I know that Jason had some concerns about the 2K and all the new families and the new cars and a lot more quantity of people he's gonna have going through his campus. And so, once again, Trace and I have been back and forth with PG&E, San Jose Water, and a bunch of other people of the lot that's up at the top. You know, at the beginning of the summer, they were coming to us saying, hey, listen, you need to get your stuff off the lot. And we were working with them about moving it, and lo and behold, probably a 2-month conversation, we own it actually. We actually own it. So we had to find the property lines that say, no, your container's a little too far this way or too far that way. We actually own the whole thing. So in doing that, what I've talked to Jason about is that we're probably gonna pave that upper lot. Actually put in some stalls for people to park and then pave that, John, you had mentioned before, pave that walkway down into the school.
Is that road that upper lot is right next to, is that part of our driveway or is that a county road?
Without looking at the map, I don't know. Trace?
It's, we have an easement,
Okay,
we have a right of way.
So we don't own-
across it,
we don't
but
own the road.
No, we
Okay,
don't
good.
own the road.
No, but the large dirt section they were basically kicking us out of, we do own.
perfect, thank you.
Jason, I knew this was gonna be a supply chain issue too, so, once we started talking about TK with our curriculum folks, I just got right on the horn and ordered these little baby TK tables, so they're up there, everything's been installed. There's just not a lot more shade for Jason's kid to use, so we're working on that right now. TK kindergarten construction, so, Jason has this area that I fenced off, this kind of makes the area separate for the smaller children. And it just needs a little help with the grass, so we'll take care of that. I'll fill that in and kind of bring some.
Okay, thank you.
Thomas,
Any
for
other
that
questions?
upper lot at Lex, do you have to worry about ADA compliance? You pay the path and stuff?
We do. Yeah, I have 2 really good paving contractors I work with, and they're very versed in all of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
There could be a handrail going down as well. I mean, it's not gonna be an easy job, but it'll make
It's
Jason
a
a
little
lot
bit
easier.
steep. Well, not if you like snake around.
Yeah, yeah.
Some kids get right down.
Exactly.
That's why Mitzi was there today to make sure they didn't do that.
Oh, thank you. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Thomas, and your team. This was a lot of work. And we are grateful. Okay, let's move on to the declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Is that you, sir?
It is, this is like a bad penny. This is our third attempt. The last time it was kicked back because it was approved at a special board meeting instead of a regular board meeting.
Okay,
So
Should I
now,
move to approve it?
yes,
I'll second.
thank you.
okay, all in favor? Aye. All right.
So the documents,
What's that?
the documents.
Right.
Typically big.
Okay, now we're gonna talk facility use. That's right.
Thank you. So, generally speaking, we would bring an annual update on the facility use fees to the board. And because of COVID, we have not been, implementing any changes over the past few years, but this year we've done, a little bit of homework on the various, fees across the county, and we've been negotiating over the past year with Los Gatos Rec to try and come up with an updated facilities use. And so what you see in front of you is our latest agreement. And if you can go to the, I forgot what page, I think it's on here. This reflects our updated recommended fees. And they're generally speaking have increased between 10 and 20% because we haven't updated them in a number of years.
So you say across the board, all of them are up about 10%.
All of them are up about 10 to 20%. And generally speaking, we have compared these to all the rest of Santa Clara County school districts to see where we land. And I'd say on average, we're relatively similar across the board. Certainly certain items are higher in one place or lower, kind of depending on the size or the usage, but this is relatively speaking in the range.
And then the fields, right, so I mean, no, I've been around long enough, so.
Yes.
Right, I mean, there was a lot of thought given to the fees to begin with, right, based on.
These are Facilitron helped us calculate.
Yeah, maintenance and stuff like that, that's what I was gonna get to, like with
Maintenance
the fields, I guess, well, so we haven't upgraded the fields yet.
Correct.
So maybe my question's a little premature, but sorry.
We would certainly look at bringing this on an annual basis. So as we do upgrades, we would reevaluate whether or not we should add a line or change.
Yeah, or even
Some of
sooner,
them
it was like, for
appropriate.
example, if the Van Meter Field is redone with Bermuda sod before the end of this calendar year, and is available for leagues starting in the spring.
We could
And
come
we
back.
talked about Bermuda sod being, you know, it's gonna be more expensive to maintain, partly because it's different for us, but partly because of what it is. Should we be updating the fees that we're
So
charging?
typically, we're not prohibited from bringing them back. So I look at this as something that we actually publish now and have available for people. So I wouldn't publish preemptively.
No, I know, but I guess, are we, do we think we're planning on doing? It? Once the new grass is in. then we're gonna talk about
My plan is that every year we will relook and come back as appropriate to update these. So if we've made the improvements and we're ready to go, I'm hesitant. Not only because of the weather, but actually to buy grass. It was very difficult. It's a difficult lead item. It's difficult to get all sorts of building materials. So I'm very hesitant to preemptively.
No, and that's fine, but like I said, hypothetically, if we're done in December and the fields are ready to use in
Yes. then
February,
we would come
March,
back.
would we do maybe do a
Yes.
video adjustment?
Yes,
Yeah.
we would do. it.
I think regardless too, is I would like to talk to Trace a little bit more about it, but I think there's gotta be some kind of line item, and therefore at least repairs. Because even if.
Well, specific
If
repairs,
we're gonna go down the road of
Yeah.
doing this, it's not gonna sit away.
sure.
Some of these line items of after the. I'm sorry, after the use gets done, it would be in there for me, in my budget to prepare it for the next season.
Yeah, I wonder how, if multiple leagues are using it, how do you?
Right, and I mean, it doesn't have to be a, a designated line item, but there's just gonna be a little cost associated that kind of goes to the budget for me for repair.
So you can do those in these agreements, you can add some specifics of if they damage or they're not using it properly, you can add some types of agreements. We do have, this is the form, I guess, that's published with Facilitron. And so when people sign up, they're abiding by these, but you can also send out emails and specific items on any of the line items to highlight specific guidelines or things that you want people to follow on that. And so part of this process, so I'm not gonna go through the entire agreement, but part of the process is looking at how we do allow people to use them. And right now, since we don't have, we have full access to all of our fields, but they're not at the same level of quality. And so it's hard for us to sort of implement some of these specific rules at this moment because people are, for example, at the meter, they're kind of sticking to one little spot so that they can move around where the grass is the best in that location and things like that, as opposed to say, we're going to shut down half of this field and you guys have to move your posts around and things like that, your goals, etc. You can build all of that stuff in, but we don't have kind of the facilities at that level. And so this is an agreement that at any moment we can instantly change and have it update immediately. And the way that we do open up our facilities is we don't open them up for the entire year. We open them up in quarters, kind of in more like thirds, trimesters, so that we can allow people to come in and if we want to make changes to the agreements or do other things. Because what will happen if we open it up for the entire year is that one group that's proactive will book everything and it won't be available and we won't be necessarily able to take some things offline if we want to, et cetera. So we need to update how we offer facilities as we go through this year and make some of these changes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Maybe we can possibly rent the Van Meter or Blossom Hill Kindergrass, it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see those kinds of things come up actually throughout the year. And so then the other agreement that's also attached is in draft, and I'm using this. This is a very initial draft. We've had a number of meetings collaboratively across the 3 school districts that are part of Los Gatos Rec in order to try and get to some common agreements on how to offer facilities to the rec. I do want to highlight that the rec we are in a joint power agreement, joint authority with them. It's the high school district, our district, and Saratoga Elementary School District. And we've been in that for a long time. It's been a partnership between basically those 3 districts and the rec offers a lot of our after school sports and our after school enrichment and has been a good partner with us for a long time. But how they use our facilities and how we partner with them across the 3 districts has not been consistent, as consistent as we would like it. And so we've been really working on how to get to a place that we all have a similar standard of what we're expecting from each other, how much they're going to pay, how we're going to book reservation, and how we are going to ensure that other community entities are able to use our space. So one example, hold on, John, if you can hold on. So one example is on the gym. That's the premium space. And our gym is the highest use by the rec for a number of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is because the high school has their own sporting teams using the gym at a much higher rate than we use our gym. for those purposes. So the rec has taken a huge amount of our gym space. And it hasn't always been available to other community users that would like to use it during those seasons. And so we've been working really hard on negotiating those items and saying that one, the rec does give us records on who is participating in these in their activities so that they can show that it is our students participating in them. And we're working on how to ensure that if they are doing other groups, that if a local group wants to come in, how do we can bump the rec out of their space. So we don't want to preclude them from taking the space because they're a good partner to us. And if nobody else is using it, we are happy to have them use that and support their programs. But if we don't want them precluding other people, so we split the gym. It's a large gym. Ours is larger than even the high school. The high school has two, and we've got them kind of pushed together. So we're split the gym in terms of fees and in terms of booking so that we could have two different groups in there at the same time. It's not exactly the same size. And the rec, for example, just used to pay for the whole thing. And now they're gonna, if they use it, they're gonna pay for both sides of the gym separately. And that's additional revenue to us, but it also gives us that flexibility to do that. And we've been working with groups like Facilitron to change how we book the things so that we can offer it to other people and make sure that it's balanced. What we've done over the past few years is we meet as a group with these outside sports teams, for example, and say, let's all look at each other's schedules together so that we can ensure there's enough space available for everybody that wants it after the school is using it, so that the soccer leagues and baseball and lacrosse and those other kinds of teams and the rec all have time available. And we're working on how to do that with the gym. So those are built in here, but we haven't gotten the agreement formalized. I just don't want to wait to finalize the whole agreement, because getting this uploaded, they're booking things now, and we really need to get this done. And we've been working hard trying to get all of us on the same page. And this is our first draft. And I think we've already given comments, and I think we're close to being able to negotiate agreement, but I don't have the final language. So I'm asking for your approval on both the fee schedule and this template agreement so that Paul or designee can finalize the negotiations on this agreement. So sorry, John first.
Okay, well, you gave a good example on the gym so that you have two different groups using the gym and they would each be paying a fee.
Correct.
Would the same thing apply for the field? If you just have one soccer game going on between two teams, compared to the one time I went and watched my granddaughter, there had to be 20 soccer teams out there taking up the whole field. Are you getting 20 fees or one fee?
So it depends on the field. For example, at Van Meter, we split the field into two, so we would get 2 fees.
Well, I'm talking about Fisher, probably is the one that I.
Yeah, so at Fisher, we don't have it split that way, but we can look at doing some of those kinds of things moving forward. And we've gotten Facilitron set up in a way that we can.
Well, it gets more use if you got 500 kids on it than if you got 20 kids on it.
Yeah, I think that's a valuable point to look at, because it also gives us more flexibility if two different groups want to use it. So I think that's really important.
So United, Los Angeles United has expressed a lot of interest in use. They've expressed more interest than they've had in the past.
And I know the parents pay a ton of money to let their kids go there.
Well, keep in mind, the fees on a per hour basis, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it, yeah.
So my question is, one, does LG Rec, are they not viable without the $95,000 of basically getting free for a year plus?
So we've spent a lot of time with them, and I personally have reviewed a lot of their financial information and created my own financial information to look on their behalf. And I will say that my personal opinion is that they could be viable by making some significant changes to how they do their operations, but they would have to cut programming and do some things that they're trying to offer a robust programming for all of the community. And I do believe that our contribution, although it is a financial impact to us, is of huge benefit to them, and that they provide a huge amount of enrichment and childcare and sports and things that our community and families are using. So
Which leads to my question, which is, I don't dispute the benefit they provide. But what I want to make sure is, it's sort of connected like John's comment, but I want to make sure that we provide our facilities to serve the broad community. I mean, I know specifically rec would block facilities at their discounted or free rate in years past, and then they would actually go to other groups and say, give me 30% of your revenue and you can have my field. And it's not their field, and I want to make sure that they get, even if they have a program with 3 kids, they can't block and then use a field where, in essence, some coach is just running a little league, you know, like I've seen at Dave's. They're up at a corner of the field, you know, at $3 an hour. But United Soccer can't use that, they'd have 200 kids using it. I want to make sure we regulate for community use, and I would require that the rec say, if you're renting it, how many kids are going to be using it? Upfront, not asking, you know, saying, oh, last year, yeah, we're sorry, we sucked. They need to be proactive and then, you know, because our policy is we serve the community, and that's our goal.
So I agree with the sentiment. And so I think that how to get to that is to ensure that people that actively want to sign up on Facilitron for our facilities, that we look at how to make room for them and make sure that there's space available for them if they are serving our students. Facilitron does have an ability for them to upload rosters and for us to know which kids are being served even before we approve the space. We can do all of those kinds of things. But I think if the rec is using it and we also have space available for the 3 other local users at the same time, I think we're meeting our objective. And so that's really what this approach is, moving in that direction to make sure we've added sort of a pseudo wait list and we have an approval process so that anybody that's coming in, we look at and we determine how to make sure there's space available for them. And I think that is really ultimately what will bring us all together and provide the kind of resource that we're trying to provide to the community. So I think it accomplishes the same sentiment.
So just in terms of broad strokes, the Los Gatos Rec, we're giving them a 95K credit
Over 2 years' time.
because we are altruistic.
Well, the rec department in the pandemic, they were decimated, basically.
Okay. So they
So
have it done.
it's an effort between the 3 school districts and the town, because the town is giving them free
Rent
rent.
for
and-
multiple years.
Yes, and Saratoga and the high school district and us for 1 year to help them get up and over. And
Okay.
out of their financial problems.
Okay. And then as far as the fees go for 23-24, I'm trying to do a comparison and I'm not,
Oh, I have that. I'm
Achieving it.
sorry, I couldn't share the
It-
file.
it's there, but I'm just generally like, we give them a discount relative to other nonprofits, is that right? They have like a special.
I tried, so they have a special rate. I tried to actually say we should come up with a percentage discount off of the nonprofit rate.
Yeah.
But Saratoga and Los Gatos and us are so far apart on our
Right now.
rates that coming up with a common percentage didn't work. So we actually negotiated 7 or 8 line items and we negotiated together. We said, you know, I focused on the gym because that's where we have a limitation and I wanted to make sure we maximize the revenue on the gym. But on classrooms, I didn't care as much because we have plenty of classrooms that we can rent out and they are our biggest user. So it's not going to impact other people using it. So
Okay.
I gave on that, but focused on the gym
That's
to
fine.
get a much higher.
Sure. And then in terms of the class 1, class 2, class 3, plus the rec, they're sort of their
Yes,
own category. What is the distribution of those for
Users,
users, so to speak, both like just counting beans, counting users, not
Yeah.
kids, but users, like
So-
bookings and then revenue.
yeah, so the rec is probably, more than a third of our bookings, or probably half of our bookings and more than a third of our revenue.
Yeah.
I'd say the rest is mostly nonprofit users,
What's
in
United
terms of our
Soccer?
revenue, but in terms of usage, a huge amount home and school clubs.
Yeah.
That no charge for any school related activities. So I'd say a third is about our own usage and a third is other nonprofits, mostly the fields and Boy Scouts, things like that come and use it. But we don't rent out. I mean, we could certainly, if we really were trying to maximize
All right,
revenue,
I get one.
we would go in and do a bunch of other finessing of these things. So for example, I in my mind, we haven't finalized with the rec, but if they're bringing an adult program in here, I'm not sure that we would subsidize their fees. They should pay the full freight, but they have a difference of opinion on that. And so we're still negotiating those kinds of items, but there's lots of ways to slice and dice this to get to our main objective in my mind is our board policy is that we want to serve Los Gatos youth, especially our school age, not the high school age, but our school age. And so we are primarily trying to set up those kinds of programs and support people that are doing those programs.
So Therese, are we breaking even based on maintenance and what we're bringing in
Yes.
for the fees?
Yes, we earn, during COVID, it certainly dropped tremendously. We did still get some childcare revenue and some of those kinds of things, but we earn in a good year more than a couple $100,000, and we're not quite back up to that yet. But I think with our field improvements over time, I think we're going to exceed. We'll probably be closer to $400,000 or $500,000 a year.
Is that in total or is that just for work department?
No, in total, yeah. I'm confident that we will be able to cover the cost of maintaining our facilities out of this, but that's all general revenue. We can use that for whatever we want. So in my mind, we shouldn't be upping our overall total maintenance costs. We should be staying at the same because it's money that's coming away from other programs if we're significantly increasing our ongoing annual operating costs. So Thomas has done a good job this summer of reorienting his grounds crews on what they need to pay attention to. You guys can go see from the front of the campus in, there's huge improvements in how our campuses look. And I think our ability to maintain them will be significantly improved.
Yeah, I mean, just back to the numbers for a second. So if we're in the couple hundred to several $100,000 a year, call it roughly 50,000 a year on average for the concession to the rec department is it's less paying for us than it is. Then the opposite would be for them, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we have one other? This is a question more for Courtney John, I guess, is right. So part of what we're voting on here is voting on whether you and Paul go finish the negotiation of this. I mean, I guess the question is, are we seeing anything here where we want to say, go finish the negotiation subject to such and such a guardrails or whatever?
Right.
I don't know that I'm seeing anything necessarily, but
I just have two more questions, maybe in response to that. One is like, maybe I didn't read it closely enough, but do we have no-show penalty?
We have it built into our facility use agreement, but that's been an area that has been very difficult to enforce, and that politically is very charged to do that. So we have it built in, but I haven't enforced it. I haven't, and it's something. It is something that what I'm doing, for example, with the rec, because Dan's right, they book a whole bunch of stuff, and then if they don't have enough students coming into it,
then they drop it and
Yeah, they
nobody, and it's
cancel all
too
the
late.
time.
Yeah, they cancel all the time. So what we're doing is we're gonna implement this wait list system so that we can say, we have somebody in the queue and you either pay and commit, or we're gonna put somebody else in. So I think that will solve the issue without penalizing people.
That's fair. Okay, we can try it at least. and see
Yeah,
how it goes.
yes.
And then for like casual individual use for community members, I guess that's not governed by any of these contracts. Do we have an opinion on whether?
It is
That-
governed actually by
It
the
is.
facilities use agreement. That would be class 3 if you go back.
Oh,
It's in the other agreement, but anyways, it would be in class 3 that you can, it's a for-profit basically. And,
like an individual person?
it's not on this agreement, it's on the other.
Would be class.
Go to the other tab. Is this it? No, yeah, that. I'm sorry, I don't see. Is this the first one that we did? Amy? Yeah, here.
So you're
yeah.
talking about just a small team shows up and plays on it without any?
Yeah, or even just like, you know, I'll
We-
take my kids
we
to
have-
Fisher on the weekend and we like run around the track or something.
No, sorry, I
that is not-
misunderstood. I misunderstood.
That's
Go
not
ahead.
governed under this. That's,
No.
that's
No.
fine.
And that's fine. I mean,
But I'm just wondering, like, do we need a policy for that in addition to this? Or is it, is our attitude like laissez-faire?
Well, I think that's a legitimate question. So the question is whether or not you leave the campuses open on the weekends or not. And so we do have problems with people using them as dog parks, huge problem. And we are in the process of looking at getting the correct language so that you can put up signs and actually have people, have the police enforce it, but it's very difficult to do. And if you do prohibit people from coming on to your site on the weekends, often you will get actually more vandalism because the general public isn't doing it. It'll be people that are
Yeah,
gonna
the
cause
president's been showing
problems.
the things on the-
So it's not my recommendation that we do that, but you can. We do have our primary users help monitor what's going on. So I do think it's of value to have them and say, you've got to be watching out, you know, somebody, if you see something wrong, you have to address it because, or call the police or do whatever you think is appropriate. But these are our facilities and we need to make sure that they're safe for people to be there. So I think signage is how you address those kinds of issues and you put up what the guidelines are and you can shut it down for certain periods of time. But the dog use is probably actually our biggest issue and it's
Yeah,
not
dogs
just
are
that
a
people, it's not just that people don't pick up after their dogs, it's that people bring aggressive dogs. And if children are out there playing, they'll let their dogs run across the field and they cloud over small kids.
Mhm.
So, you
from a
know,
liability perspective.
that's
If
why. it's a
somebody's
problem.
bitten by a dog, can they
It's-
come after us?
Of course they can. Yes.
Okay, so I guess that's maybe something that we take as
Signage.
an action item,
Yeah,
right? Like,
signage
yeah,
is the way
signage.
to address that.
Okay.
But there are groups, I just am gonna be upfront with you, there are groups that come that are formal groups that come and use our facilities and we try to police them, but again, it's difficult.
Okay, so we have to vote on this, I guess, huh?
I think it would be a good idea to consider putting in some kind of a liability clause, you know, there's a golf course that I used to play at, and they had a sign out there, if you park in the parking lot, you're parking at your own risk. The golf course will not be held accountable for any damage to your car. Same thing could be for dogs, you know, just something to consider.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the use agreement. Oh, well.
I just want to mention, one of our priorities is ensuring that the Los Gatos youth have first priority. So that's, we have to do that because that's in our board policy, but we just want to make sure that whatever agreement we have allows us to do that.
Yeah.
And requires the rec to be accountable.
John, why don't you update the motion? So the recommended motion in the agenda is approve the draft agreements and further authorize superintendent to designate funds. Sorry. John.
Yes, sir.
No, I turned on my microphone. It's not good. I know you could hear me, but nobody else could. So yeah, maybe just read or paraphrase the motion with both pieces, the approving draft agreement and authorizing superintendent to designate funds.
Well, the agreement is the draft facilities use agreement for discussion. Is that approving the, I'm sorry, why don't you make the motion?
Okay, so the recommended motion, which I guess is the one I'll make, stick to the script, assuming it's still what we want. I'll make a motion that we approve the draft agreements as presented and authorize the superintendent or designee to finalize negotiations by the end of this month.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Super duper. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Right? Great. So that passed. I guess we'll just wait to hear from you then on the final version. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Super. All right, we are on to board comments and subcommittee reports. I assume this is gonna be super short, because we've all been on.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
It's short as in short or short as in nothing? What do you look for here?
Your choice.
I know, you can be brief.
Yeah. No, just gonna, I mean, maybe one or two things. One is, yeah, I did a kind of a buzz through Van Meter and Fisher this morning. So I live about a quarter mile away from Van Meter, and then another quarter mile beyond that Fisher. So it's kind of easy to leave my house a little before 8, kind of zing through the Van Meter campus as kids were coming out there and see all that hubbub, and then repeat it Fisher. And it was just fun. I mean, this is, I think, the first full normal first day of school in years. Which of course, you know, for some of the kids, it doesn't make much of a difference, right? Especially the kindergarten, they don't know what's going on. But yeah, just great to see the energy, the activity, the teachers, everything. Yeah, you know, I mean, and for me as well, it's been a few years since I've been on campus for the first day, you know, so like this, that's been great to see. And then I guess the other thing is just to echo what Paul said about the election or lack thereof. I'm super pleased and excited to continue my service on the board. As everybody knows, I talk about all the time, I've got a strong passion for education, obviously a strong passion as well for the district. I think we've got a wonderful group of people in the district, from literally from top to bottom, superintendent, district staff, principals, teachers. I think wonderful people. My kids have had wonderful experiences, and I know the kids today are as well. And just thrilled to continue to be part of this.
John, you can share?
Well, it's another year at Lexington, and I was probably showing up more than desired just to check on solar and other stuff going on there. Jill would see my car and she'd come out and say, nothing new going on. But I was excited to see the first day get pulled off without a hitch. I know that we, and everyone was thinking about, geez, 40 more cars coming down here. They're going to be backed up on old Santa Cruz, but it went off without a hitch, and it went off better than can be expected. They had the ice cream social yesterday, and look forward to supporting the school and the home and school club as long as I'm on the board. Thank you.
Okay, well, I don't have much to add. I was at Lexington this morning for drop off, saw the new mode, well, and then sat in the traffic at Fisher. The whole other thing. My kid will be biking as of Monday. So yeah, super excited. The welcome back to the school year on Monday was great. So exciting to see all the stuff in one place, in the shade. Thank you, John. Yeah. Okay, so we've got our study session coming up. It's gonna be fun. September 1st, which is open to the public. Everyone's still watching. What are the topics? Do we know that?
Safety and PBL.
Safety and PBL, okay. I feel like I knew that somewhere, but stay tuned in a moment. Yeah, board meetings coming up. And lots of theme nights. Back to school, all the things. I think we're done. Okay.